I started off my day in Seattle by taking my bike in to get some work done at a local shop. The rear wheel was a little worse for wear, and so I decided to get it replaced. While it was getting tuned up, I set out to explore the city. Stops included the waterfront, Pike's Marketplace, and Cary Park to take in the view. Sights seen, I picked up my bike and returned to the hostel. I spent the next day mostly indoors, resting and planning for the week ahead. While I had enjoyed my time out on the West Coast, I was excited to be heading east and taking on the next portion of my trip. Leaving Seattle, I tackled the hills before getting onto the I-90 bike trail, which was a fantastic way of getting out of the area. I was surprised by the incredible amount of different trails that led me eastward, keeping me off the road for much of the 40 miles to the town of North Bend. I had a lot of fun making my way down the trails. I stayed in North Bend for a little longer than I should have and got back on the trail in the waning light. After another 5 miles, I reached Rattlesnake Lake, where I set up for the night. The next morning, I was excited to get onto the Iron Horse Trail. As it was a gravel path, the going was somewhat slow, but I didn't have any complaints as I followed a flat trail through the Cascades. There was a lot of great views along the way, and plenty of monster slugs I took care to avoid. The ride through Snoqualmie Pass through the Cascades was one of my favorite stretches to date, the highlight being a more than 2-mile long tunnel underneath the mountains. Because of the trail, I was sad to be leaving the mountains behind, but happy to be making good progress. I ended the day in Ellensburg, Washington. The next day, I started my ride going through the Yakima Canyon. While it wasn't my favorite landscape, the canyon walls were impressive, and a mostly downhill ride was a fun time, even when the rain started to fall. I was already beginning to miss all the green from the west side of the mountains. I finished up the day in Toppenish, Washington. It was a long downhill ride the next day. Because of the logistics, I decided to head southward first, where the friend from Washington lived. I was passing more and more into rural areas, full of fields, vineyards, and cow pastures. After the relatively easy ride, I made my stop in Kennewick, Washington. I was able to use the bike paths to get out of the area and then hopped onto Route 12. I got a bit of rain while riding along the highway, but I didn't mind it too much as it kept things cool. It was a very straightforward ride into Walla Walla. After a relatively easy day on the bike, I was happy to get into town and finish up my 19th week